Hello everyone and welcome to Xcom Chimera Squad. I am sure that more than a few of you expected to see this on the channel, and I am very glad not to disappoint. Though I do want to take a moment at the very beginning of this playlist and series to thank 2K, who made this series possible by giving me a key to the game. And on the topic of thanks, for those of you who, upon seeing XCOM, a new XCOM playlist on my channel, are immediately going to drop a like on the video without even watching it, thank you. The algorithm is always watching, and it approves, and so do I. But with that said and done, let's get down to business. Now, XCOM Chimera Squad, it's a little bit of a deviation from the tried and true XCOM formula, but in a way that, honestly, so far as I have played, which is just the tutorial so far, just to familiarize myself with some of the new mechanics, is really, really fun. We'll get into the specific differences in a moment, but for those of you who do want a bit of a synopsis before we begin, I would say that there are lots of comparisons to make between Chimera Squad and the theme. It's sort of very strong thematic parallels to be drawn between this and XCOM Apocalypse, the original XCOM 3, long before the remakes. And also there are some mechanics similarities between this and games like Phantom Doctrine. So in a nutshell, it's much more of a narrative sculpted experience, and the combat is very much focused on the tactical side of it without necessarily the huge drawback to the geoscape and the massive the overall war status, the strategic elements. Those are still there a little bit, but not quite as not quite the same breadth as you typically get in an XCOM game. But now, with that said and done, let's go ahead and start our first game. As for the game's difficulty settings, here you go. I have chosen a fairly modest difficulty setting for the game here. I have bumped the difficulty up from normal to expert, simply because I'm quite familiar with XCOM as a franchise, but I have shied away from going all the way to impossible, A, because I don't want to fan the flames of my hubris. It is my #1 enemy, as many of my regular viewers know, but also because this disables the tutorial, and the tutorial has a pretty nice narrative setup for the game and an introduction to some of the characters, so I don't really want to miss out on that. But I do believe that it is possible to change the game's difficulty once underway, so we may actually have a look into that if we find that expert is not really giving me the sort of challenge that can make for enjoyable, nail-bitey tense content. If I'm not left with cliffhangers, then I'll be very disappointed at the end of every episode. It's true. However, there are two options here, and I do want to kind of point out their nuanced difference. We've got Iron Man and Hardcore, and quite often these terms are pretty much interchangeable in most games, but here there is a bit of a difference, and it is kind of subtle. Iron Man prevents you from save scumming. But in this game, you're kind of encouraged to save scum no matter what. Just Iron Man prevents you from save scumming within a tactical combat. So you might be presented with a risky choice or a safe choice, and you decide to try your luck with the risky choice, but you drop a save first, and if it doesn't pan out, you revert and then go for the safer choice. That's all Iron Man stops, because in this game, if anyone ever perishes, you automatically have to start the mission again, which is very different for XCOM, and which is why I want to bring special attention to this. You can't lose anyone in this, and I think that's kind of part of the package with this being a much more narrative experience. All of the characters have names, they have backstories, they have voice acting, and you're not allowed to lose any of them. It is a bit of a deviation, and it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Hardcore, on the other hand, should you lose, your save gets deleted. I'm not going to lie, the old school XCOM player in me is quite interested in this option. However, because this is a Let's Play series, and because I am aware that there may be bugs in a game, especially this close after launch, we're going to be avoiding Hardcore. But I am going to be turning on Iron Man. I always play Bronze Man anyway, so it really doesn't make much of a difference for me. But with that all said and done, it's time for us to get into the game.
Two minutes out.
Hey, Godmother. Is this like the old days? XCOM swooping in and taking it to the bad guys?
I wouldn't know. I spent most of the war training resistance networks.
Like mine. And for your many, long years.
Wow.
Watch it.
XCOM attaches you to an untested squad and pushes it into the field before it's ready. How is this not like the old days?
I'm just happy to be here. I missed out during the war. Wish I could have pulled my weight.
For which side?
Wow!
I find that very hurtful.
The sass!
Sure thing, Advent.
We are through
My
the
lord.
checkpoint.
I was never actually Advent.
But they were fitting you for a blocky helmet.
Stow it, both of you. We're here. 3-1 PD gave us the all clear. Grab your gear and prepare to move in.
3-1 PD, 31's police department. City 31, that is.
Whisper, what's your status?
And what's Verge's ETA?
Comms are working, obviously. Verge is en route.
How? Verge can't drive.
He hailed a cab.
To a hostage situation?
Focus. Whisper, any surprises in the next room?
A handful of hostiles, unaware of your approach.
Chimera squad, take positions. Prep for breach.
And with this, we are introduced to probably one of the biggest changes between XCOM Chimera Squad and your traditional XCOM likes, and in fact XCOM itself, and that is that the breach mechanic. Well, XCOM Chimera Squad has done away with the sort of exploration phase of tactical combat. Quite often when you were deployed to a tactical combat, whether it was dealing with enemies coming to you or you going to the enemies like a crashed UFO or what have you, it would start off with an exploratory phase where you were trying to feel it out and look for enemy pods to engage with, and then you throw down with them, and then when that was done, you would start exploring again until you found the next one. Wash, rinse, repeat until you'd eliminated all enemies. Well, in Chimera Squad, they've kind of increased the pacing by having discrete combat-focused tactical engagements separated by breaching zones where you get to sort of like change your deployment tactics. It's a really, really interesting mechanic that I'm looking forward to being able to showcase, and in fact to get to know, because all I really know of it is a little bit of the tutorial that I played through. Chimera Squad begins every mission by setting up at breaching points to get the jump on enemies. Preview the enemy presence at each breach point and modifiers that will be applied, and then assign agents to the available slot to determine the order they'll enter the fight. Now, there's a bit to unpack with that. First and foremost, from this, I'm not really sure how to pass this little bit of information, but I think it just gives you a general idea of how safe that breach point is. The number one there, because sometimes you can end up with multiple different options for breaching. This is the order in which each individual breach point will enter the combat, and then within that you get the order within which the people using that breach point will enter combat. So it kind of it's their initiative role, if you like. Additionally, we have the benefit, or in some cases the debuff, that you'll have for using that breach point. So in this case, everyone who enters this and shoots on the breach phase, I believe, will automatically get a crit, though it might actually be the entire engagement. Now, given that Godmother, aside from the title, has already in the opening cinematic been set up as a bit of a squad leader, we'll lead with Godmother, followed by Cherub, I think, and then Terminal, who seems to be our techie. And one of the big kind of thematic parallels that I draw with XCOM Apocalypse is, well, first and foremost, as far as I can tell, this all takes place in one city, one of many. Whereas XCOM Apocalypse, most of the world was like ruined and, you know, only the cities are safe. From what I can tell, that isn't the case here. It's just this is one particular city. But also the presence of hybrids, and where this is like 5 years after the war, and the foot soldiers were kind of just left behind by the elders who abandoned the invasion attempt, and the foot soldiers just slowly integrated. And I really, really like that kind of dynamic that comes from that. But let's get on with the breach.
Breach!
Right, okay. Breach targeting. Cycle through available targets with tab and left shift. Then use the selected ability to enter. Now, right now, we only have just one ability, and that is just a flat-out shoot. The troopers have 4 pips of health. That's, from what I can tell, largely dependent on the difficulty setting that you choose. If you'd gone with normal, it would have been 3. We've got a various amount of information here. I like the kind of bullet time-esque kind of thing going on here. And we've got a guaranteed crit, effectively, because of pinpoint. Now, we've got 3 different enemies. The tutorial will go to effort on our next person to describe what surprised, alert, etc. all mean. But one thing to be aware of is, because they're surprised here, they are getting a defensive malice, which completely negates their low cover. So as a result, you're a primary for me, because outside of breach phase, you're going to have that cover bonus, and you're not going to be surprised anymore. So let's take you out. We literally couldn't lose that fight. There we go. Response level surprise. Surprise enemies receive a defensive penalty and won't react during the breach sequence. So this initial engagement sequence, the breach sequence itself, is just played out. You're not going to do anything in this, whereas we all get to shoot. An alert trooper, though, will use an ability at the end of breach sequence. Now, that ability, it's not shooting, but it could be an aggressive ability. Quite often, you might find them, I don't know, hunkering down, taking a defensive stance, etc., etc. But if they've perhaps got grenades, that would class as an ability, so they could use those. We'll go ahead and try and take you down. Because of the crit, we have a guarantee here, since even if we roll minimum damage, the crit will bump it up to lethal. And finally with you, exactly the same thing, but we've got a higher potential threshold of damage anyway. We did roll minimum.
Hello, I am Mayor Nightingale.
Is that our hostage?
Welcome to City 31's Memorial Museum.
It's just a recording.
As I often say, the lessons from our past inform the present.
Blah, blah, blah. History.
Focus.
Okay. Now, the world seems really lore-rich, and there's so much detail that you can unpack here. Even in this just starting area, like the fact that, yeah, these are little glimpses of the invasion. We've got ghouls over there. I actually forget their literal name. It might have been ghouls. We've got little like wall displays of the invasion. It's actually really, really cool. And I imagine if you wanted to take your time and just zoom in and listen to everything, there'd probably be quite a lot there to listen to. Right, turns are moving. Agents and enemies take their turns one at a time. Now, this is the other big mechanic difference between XCOM, Chimera Squad, and the other XCOMs. You don't all take, like, one side takes all of their turns, and then the other side takes all of their turns. It's interspersed, and that does really change things up. Their current place in the turn order can be seen on the unit flag above their head and next to their portrait on the timeline, which both update after each turn. Agents have 2 action points, each turn to use for movement, shooting, or abilities. Look for a blue shield to move into cover for a defensive bonus before shooting, or move out to flank the enemy for a better chance to hit. Use the timeline to determine when enemies will take their turn in order to neutralize them or protect teammates. Some advanced abilities and equipment will allow you to manipulate the turn order. Some actions, like shooting, will end the turn regardless of how many action points are available, though there are some traits, as with the original, that will change the way that works. Now, we can see that you're going to take a turn on the 4th round. You're going to take a turn on the 2nd, so Godmother could potentially deal with you. Godmother is equipped with a shotgun, from what I can see down here. So we're going to assume that close quarters is particularly good here, but if I move Godmother up there, we are going to expose her to being attacked by this fella over there, which is not exactly the best thing. But if we move close in, we may be able to take you out in one go. The thing with that is if I move up here and then I fail to take you out, because you will have half cover. Granted, we'll be a quite close range, so there's a good chance that we'll be able to overcome that. But if I did fail to get a kill, then 2 people would be able to shoot you, because I'd either have to choose to use Cherub to eliminate you or try to kill them, but Cherub, as we've already seen, has a low roll of 3 damage, which might not kill, so may want to just be super aggressive here. Sure, let's just charge it.
Position.
There we go. Actions available. Select an ability from the ability bar or open the shot HUD with enter. Now, we could go into Overwatch, actually, but we'll go with this one. And there we go. Because of weapon range, our shotgun is a close range weapon. We've got a massive boost to our chance to hit. So at this point, we can't miss. Despite Xcom's attempts, I'm sure it would try to make us miss at like a 90%. But no, you're not allowed. Not this time. There we are. Field execution. A little bit brutal, but there we go. Now, Cherub, can you see this opponent from here? No. Now, you would technically be in cover if you went over here. The way the cover works is this shield is on, like, if you imagine the cardinal directions from this perspective, north being up, the shield is on the north face of this tile, which means that anything to which that edge there is, like they're on this side of that divide, would be subject to cover. But we have angles. So, for example, here, whilst this would still technically be cover, because it's to the, if we move the view here, it's to the left of that line, if you imagine a line bisecting the playing field there. Because of the angle, it would still get a little bit of an advantage. So cover is still much better if you've got it head on. But now it's about as good cover as I can give to Cherub. So let's move us in, and we'll see what we can do. Let's have a look. 74% chance. That's actually not too bad. We've got a 33% chance of critting because they're out in the open, they're flanked. So let's see what we can do. Oh, I like the Godmother duck there. That was actually pretty cool.
You see this?
I really like that, actually.
Interesting.
Contact!
Clear.
Looking very proud of yourself there.
Verge?
To be fair, you did just take two people
What
out
took you so
with your
long?
mind.
Had to unpack a breaching charge.
Good man.
Not exactly.
You know what I mean.
I always do.
So creepy. Don't ever change.
Verge, form
I
up.
approve of
Any
psionic humor.
hostiles in the next room?
Yes, I can feel them.
Deeply approve of psionic humor. Okay, that went without a hitch. And as I mentioned, we skip the whole exploration phase. We just go straight to the breaching point. We can decide how we're going to deploy, and then we're straight into the thick of combat again. Some encounters offer more than one breach point with different risks and benefits. Consider whether to split the squad or send them all through the same location. Agents entering from the same breach point will enter the encounter together and be closer in the timeline. Now that's really important. The order the breach points will enter is shown next to their name and can be changed using the arrows. So there we go. So we've got two breach points. This one looks like a much more dangerous one. Agents are likely to take damage. Closely watched. So enemies deal 1 extra damage during the breach. Now that is an important one. The breach phase is the specific phase when we first bust down the door before we scatter and take up defensive positions. So it's only during that point where we'll be at risk of the extra damage. We're over here. Other than that, you know, this is just generally a little bit more dangerous. Possibly there's more enemies there. But over here we would get a benefit. Seal the deal. The last unit through this entrance does 3 extra damage during the breach. Now that seems a reasonable one for us. I'm going to say then, we're going to send through Godmother, and we haven't really seen what Terminal can do, or Verge really, other than Verge has psionics. I'm going to send Godmother and Cherub because the shield makes me feel that Cherub is a bit more of a tanky individual. We'll send through Verge and Terminal. I'm going to send Terminal through second because I'm fairly certain we're going to be able to play with psionics with Verge, and so I'm going to be less likely to shoot with them, so Terminal can mop up with the extra 3 damage. Alright, I am going to allow this to go through as usual, and that is Godmother and Cherub are going to take the sort of lead
Breaching!
in the turn order.
Time to breach.
Despite that, Verge was actually the first one to kick through the door, which is interesting. Alright, let's have a look at what we've got. We've got an aggressive enemy. Aggressive enemies will shoot at Xcom if they aren't neutralized during the breach sequence. Now, that would be part of the breach sequence. So this would be subject to an extra 1 point of damage. We do have the opportunity to cover rush if we particularly want to. And that would be literally just trying to find the best cover that we can and getting a bit of a defensive bonus during the breach phase and on the first turn. We're going to just try our luck with an 88% chance to kill. And we succeed. Fantastic. Now, with that unit removed, there's no one who's going to attack us during the breach phase, but we do still have one oh, that's an incredibly low chance to hit, so we're not even going to bother. That high cover, they're not surprised, and so they don't have like defensive malice, and that high cover is particularly nasty for us. So we're not even going to try. I could go for a guaranteed hit. Sure, let's hope for the 33% chance. Or, well, we've got you know, 50-50 on whether we'll just kill outright with our damage. We'll either leave them with 1 hit point or none. No, there we go. That was perfect. So we didn't need the flank. Right then, Verge, you got a 90% on this person, but they're surprised, so they're not going to do anything during this breach, but you will use an ability, and you will as well. We do have a slightly better chance here because we've got a height advantage, but I think we're going to go for you. Let's see if we can't take you out. Again, we've got a 50-50 because it's 3 to 5, but then we do have the 33% chance crit in case we roll low on damage. And we didn't roll low. Fantastic. Right, so Terminal. Here we come. We could go for you and it is a guaranteed kill, but if we can, on a 50-50 hit you, you die. Go for it. And it was a miss. That's okay. Well, I think Verge may have wet his suit there. Agent abilities. Each agent has a unique ability they can use every turn, eventually gaining more abilities from their class and equipment. Most agents also have the Subdue ability, a non-lethal attack that is low damage but guaranteed to hit. Use it to earn additional rewards and for certain mission objectives. Cherub uses the Charge Bash ability instead of Subdue. Okay, so now we can actually start playing with their abilities properly, and this is going to be quite fun for us, I would say. Okay, so we've got 3 active troopers in the middle of the room here. And from this position, Godmother can see all of them. We've got you over there. Ooh, what's all that about? High cover, defensive, and in defense. So there's no chance of us getting you. You are hunkered down behind a wall. We've got an 88 on you because you're out in the open. We've got a 48 on you because you've got high cover, but we can easily deal with that. Now, scatter shot. That is a short-range shot. It'll nuke defensive structures, apparently. Godmother fires a shotgun in a short-range cone, damaging multiple targets. Costs 2 ammo, though. No one is close enough for that to work on. Subdue, which does a guaranteed 2 to 3. Which would be useful on someone who's already wounded. And this is the non-lethal option. Now, Xcom, in their role in City 31, is more as a kind of paramilitary police force, rather than strictly a military deployment in a war. So we can arrest people, and it's generally worthwhile for us to do. Oh my lord, there's Advent Burger on the wall. Is there any confirmation that Advent Burger is people? I would love that so much. I'm just kind of amused that it's Advent Burger at all, honestly. I'm loving the propaganda images as well. Oh, there's so much to unpack in this area. This is actually really, really cool. Really cool. I like it a lot. Is there anything on the top floor? Other than the models there? Not really. Okay, well, I think with Godmother, we're going to probably move over here so we've got a better flanking shot on you. We'll still have flanking shots on both. But you notice the little targeting reticule there? If we move down here, we lose on them, but that's fine by me. Because it means they won't see us either. They can obviously move into a position, but from here, we've got a pretty defensible position. 93% on you. 77 on you. Who's up next? It is you, so... Well, let's go for the shot. We've got a 77. Let's see what we can do. Nice. Okay, brilliant. I'm sorry, Main Nightingale. I did actually want to hear what you were saying. Alas. Right. Could I charge bash? I could. Now, that one's nice. Now, Cherub's kinetic shield. Cherub places an energy shield on self or ally to prevent all damage on the next attack. Cherub gains 1 charge when the energy shield is destroyed. Does not automatically end the turn. I believe that with a charge, if the charge is consumed, deal damage in a cone behind the enemy. Damage increases with a charge and replaces subdue. So we can just use this on ourselves. It does not end the turn. And then we could just charge in to attack. And I think that might be a good idea, because then if either of you are left alive, you're more likely to go for an attack on Cherub, I would imagine. Let's go for the kinetic shield. And I would like to use that on Cherub.
Armored up.
There we go. And next up, let's go for a charge bash. We really only have one option here. That's the only spot that the bash will work. So let's go ahead. So 100%, we're not going to take you out with this, but we will reduce you to 1 hit point. There we go.
Let me try again.
Up next. Oh no, you're going for you're going for Verge. Okay, interesting. Some sort of advanced enemy tactic, being able to phase shift through walls. Now, Verge does have psionics. Stupor. Verge psionically stuns a target for 1 to 2 actions. Actions, not turns. And adds them to the neural network. Cannot target enemies of the neural network. So, on a high roll, we'll completely disable their next turn. On a low roll, we'll just limit them to only being able to do one thing instead of 2. Battle Madness. Verge psionically attacks an enemy's mind, making them go berserk and attack a nearby target. Adds them to the neural network. Cannot target enemies in the neural network. Okay. Well, Verge, can you see? There, you can. Now that is good. They're up next. And you will be going after everyone else has taken a turn. We could, of course, use Subdue as well. In fact, could I get over to the other person? No, I can't get over to the other person. Well, given that, I would actually like to try and stupor you then, because that might be an opportunity for us to subdue you. Will minus 50. We've already got base chances 100, psi offense plus 50. So, sure, let's go for stupor.
Your thoughts are mine.
There we are. Stunned for 2. So 2 actions have been nullified, so that means you are fully stunned. Now at this point, we could take a shot as well, or I could use Battle Madness as well. For real? I don't want to though, because I would probably, if you went berserk and shot the other guy, you'd probably kill them, and that's kind of against what I want. Alright, let's take a shot then. Even on a low roll, that's a bit of a shame. Even on a roll of damage, Terminal may have been able to take care of that unit's remaining health, which would have generally been a good move. But we should be able to move in. Now, one of the things with Terminal, we've got Safeguard. Terminal sends the Gremlin to an ally to restore 4 HP, cleanses burning, acid, and poison, and grants 20 defense. Now, this is not used up. It's not like Gremlin Heal. We can just keep using this. Terminal can then can target themselves with Safeguard. Does not automatically end the turn. Well, Terminal, who do I want to give this to? Honestly, there's no one who particularly needs it, so I am actually going to give it to you. Let's grab Terminal. There you go. Yoink. And now, with that, well, there's no one we can really see, but I can do an Overwatch. So if this trooper sticks their face out at all,
Got you covered.
we'll take a shot on them.
Thanks for looking out.
I like the little interactions between them. That's pretty cool. Now then, we do kind of want to get over there and give you a bonk on the head, if we could. I could guarantee you going down, though with Cherub and Godmother, Verge would have an opportunity to take that person down there if we wanted them to. Sure, let's go for a subdue. Well, this is assuming that Cherub can get
Failed
over
to
there.
subdue.
If they can't, that's going to be rough. Though, that being said, Cherub can Cherub just keep stacking these? Oh, Cherub can. This is fantastic. I am learning new things. Go ahead.
Protected from all angles.
Will that take it off you? No. You're just stacking more and more shields. So this will completely negate one attack. And with that done, we can finish the attack on this fella. In fact, we can go around the back, so we're out of the targeting sight of this guy. Kinetic shield. And now Cherub will have built up a bit of charge. That was actually quite awesome. Alright, Verge, can you get in there and subdue? You can. You'll have the dash, but you will do enough damage.
Hostile is under arrest.
That is awesome. 2 arrests. Okay, getting ready to move on to the next engagement point.
Set up the breaching charge.
I do like to make an entrance.
Some breach points can only be accessed with special equipment or abilities. Once an agent with the required asset is in the first slot, other agents can then be assigned. So, Cherub is the one carrying the breach charge.
very well. Next up after Cherub, I'm going to say... We haven't really got much opportunity to play with Terminal, so we'll get Terminal in next. Verge up next, and then Godmother in last this time, just to see how having my kind of heavy hitter in last, we might be able to mop up a little bit. Verge may be able to neutralize someone again with another stun, and then Godmother can deal with anyone left. Now, there's 5 there. I wonder if this is telling me how many people, or if this is just ultra safe. Explosive entrance. All non-aggressive enemies guarding this entrance are surprised.
Wait, hold. Hostage confirmed in the next room.
We need more than that.
3-1 PD has a live feed. Patching through.
If you surrender, I will advocate leniency.
Enough. This exhibit, it is about Xcom's role in our liberation.
I see you read the placard.
It doesn't say how they went soft and got weak. Now, it's up to us to light the spark.
He's holding a detonator.
Go, now!
How's this for an entrance?
Your shoulder weak. My lord. Okay. Alright, who have we got? We've got 2 surprised and 3 alert. 59, 58, 56. I would generally like to take them out, but there's no chance of that. We've got... I believe we've got the mayor there on top of the Avenger. Sorry, the Avenger exhibit. I like that. Sure, let's go for you. We've got a decent chance of critting. We will need a crit to take you out. There we go. Fantastic. Well, actually, we still rolled high. Right. Who do we want to go for here? Well, we've still got similar looks here. We could go for the surprised here as well, or we could start trying to get the hits. Still 56. Sure, risk it for a biscuit. Biscuit acquired. Marvelous. Right, 100% there. We've got a 63 on you. Nice, good angles. This is where the angles are starting to filter in. This was an optional modifier in XCOM. Or at least XCOM 1, where you could either have defense just be flat, if it didn't really matter what kind of angle you had. If their shield was on the right side, then they had the full effect of their cover. But this starts to chip away at that, so positioning still matters. We'll go for the 63, sure. Well done, Verge, my goodness. And here we go. That is a guaranteed kill, or a half on you. No, we're going to go for the guaranteed kill. There we go. Now, what are you going to get up to?
Mirror Nightingale, I'll protect you.
Anchored down. Okay, now the enemy have a turn here.
Cherub is down.
Terminal,
Fairly
stabilize
certain
him.
that's scripted.
On it.
Verge, with me. Protect the mayor.
Confirmed.
I'm fairly certain that is scripted. Just to introduce you to all of the elements of or rather the basic elements of the game. Agents that lose all their HP will begin bleeding out over several turns, indicated by the number in the timer. The mission will fail unless the agent bleeding out is saved with the stabilize ability, or the encounter is completed before the timer expires. Alright, so Cherub has 2 turns. And Terminal is up next. Now, we can use Gremlin Stabilize, though that seems that it would completely stop the turn. So we're going to use Safeguard. Can we actually attack anyone? No. We've got you, but that's it. No, we'll go with Safeguard on someone, because this is going to give them a better defense. Who's up next? It is Verge. Sure, this will allow Verge to move into a bit more of a dangerous position. So sure, we'll use Safeguard on Verge, then I'm going to use Stabilize.
Let's get your insides back inside.
I mean, fair. No one wants their insides to be outside. Right, let's use Gremlin Stabilize. There we go. Now, Cherub is incapacitated. Which means if there were any more encounters after this, that's it. Cherub is out of this fight. We'd be going in there with just the 3 of us. Now then, as for you, I want to get into some decent cover. None of this is particularly decent, but let's have ourselves a wander over this away. Now, you're a bit of a nasty target there. And who's going next? It is going to be you. You're going to get the turn on the next round. Alright, well we could go with Stupor or we could go with Battle Madness. Now Stupor has been doing good work for us so far. But we could try out Battle Madness. Verge psionically attacks an enemy's mind, making them go berserk and attack a nearby target. Adds them to the neural network. Cannot target enemies in the neural network. Alright, let's go for it. Let's see what we can do with you.
No, no, no!
Liberation took place.
Obliterating.
That was actually pretty good. Right, now we've got 2 actions for you. I'm not sure what would happen if we move next to the mayor, whether that would get the mayor to bail out like as you would usually expect. We could, however, get in there and subdue. That might be the better option, frankly. You've got a lot of hit points. My regular attack would probably not be the best here, but I kind of want to try and... Well, you know, we're here to protect the mayor, so protect the mayor, we're going to try. Let's see if this will evacuate the mayor. No, it does not evacuate the mayor. Okay. Right, scatter shot. I would hit. I would not hit you, though. I'm not going to destroy the cover that we've got from the Avenger display, so sure, let's go for this. Or at the very least, it's not showing me that. Alternatively, got 97 there, 33, 4 to 6. Now you've got 1 armor, so you're going to mitigate 1 point of damage no matter what. So it's 3 to 5 in reality, with a 33% chance to crit. Let's try the scatter shot ability though. Okay, that's not a bad roll. That was actually
heading to
quite
location.
High damage. Berserk removed, and you're moving straight in for an attack.
Containing target.
Uh-oh. And you missed. Haha! There we go.
Closing in.
You won't get another opportunity like that.
Engaging.
Ouch. Well, you no longer have any cover, and they're in Overwatch, but I'm going to go ahead and use Safeguard on you. Let's buff your a bit of healing there. So that's removed Safeguard from Verge, I believe. Let's have a look. Yeah, Verge is no longer Safeguard. But we should be able to subdue you. That'll give us 3 rests. And we'll have Verge and Godmother. Godmother should be able to, honestly, just straight up subdue the target, though. The target is in Overwatch, so you might want to be aware of that one. Now, I can't have you use your psionics on the same enemy again, which is an interesting mechanic.
Repositioning.
Because they're part of the neural network.
Good form.
I can't do anything. I'm loving that interaction. But I believe Verge gets a passive bonus from having more minds in the network. Well, let's take a shot. We may kill. In fact, if we hit, we kill. 64%. There we go. I did kind of want to try and subdue you, but you were in Overwatch, so it was going to be
Are you
hard.
still with us?
Yeah, I think so. Only thing injured is my pride.
And your
And
guts.
your diaphragm.
Oh, yeah.
And a few ribs.
None of this should have happened.
Most people say thank you.
I'm grateful, of course. But these people don't have the capability for any of this.
Explain.
Someone
I
should have
read
told
their
them.
threat assessment. A month ago, these insurgents were all talk and no capability. The greatest threat they posed was to bottles of alcohol.
Why tell us? Why now?
City 31 shows the world how humans, hybrids, and aliens can keep a lasting peace. I'm the public face of this. Tonight, someone wanted what I represent to go up in flames.
We're not in town for local intrigue.
I know, but right now you're the only ones I'm certain are fighting for that same peace. Can
Okay,
I
that's
count on
fair
your
logic.
support?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Terminal was lightly wounded, but Cherub was gravely wounded. Now, I'm not sure if the tutorial is going to be so mean as to slap us with a mallet straight away, but you can sort of think like Darkest Dungeon. If someone gets badly wounded enough, then they will end up with like a scar. This can be removed, but it does require something for you to do to spend time removing rather than just going away on its own. From 3 captured enemies, there is a 60% chance to earn 20 intel. This is one of 3 different currencies you have in the game, and it's a pretty important one. It seems that it maxes out at 5. Every person that you capture gives you a flat 20% bonus to this chance, so at 5 you got 100%. We took 5 rounds, we had 3 encounters, killed 14 enemies, captured 3 of them, rescued 1 civilian. Rating good.
Package delivered to 31 PD.
She truly believes what she says.
That's why she's in charge.
Not too shabby for our first official mission.
Don't do that.
Don't do what?
Celebrate before a mission is complete.
Muton police officer there.
It's bad luck.
Wow, those crazy eyes though. I mean, to be fair, a van just exploded right next to you, so I guess crazy eyes is a van, but still.
Perished in an explosion at City 31's Memorial Museum. The identity of her assailants is unknown at this time. The City Council asks citizens to remain...
So she gets vaporized the same day Xcom sends Chimera squad to our city? You hear that voice in your head? That's me telling you to wake up!
Despite opposition, Mayor Nightingale's deciding vote brought the Reclamation Agency to the city. Without her support,
That's us.
Chimera Squad's continued presence is an open question.
Seems that XCOM has had
Welcome
a bit
home,
of rebranding.
Chimera Squad. The director wants to speak with us.
Thanks for getting the mayor killed. Also, you're fired.
That's not helpful.
You're right. I'm sorry.
I'll patch the call through when you're ready.
I followed your action at the museum and its aftermath.
Director Kelly, I take full responsibility for what happened.
Stop. I sent you to City 31 because I believed you were ready. Tonight, you surpassed my expectations. 31 PD requested help within 3 hours of your arrival in the city. You answered immediately. Going in, you were under-equipped and down an agent. You adapted, as we trained you to do. And let's not forget, you rescued the mayor. You delivered her to safety as the city requested.
I guess we did actually do everything we
for an
were asked to
outcome
do.
you couldn't control. Instead, let's focus on what's next.
Well, we handed her off
set
to
up the map
31
table.
PD.
Ready when you are.
Head over there. I'll
Had
hold.
achieved everything we had been asked to achieve. Okay, there is a critical target waiting on the city map. Sure, you know what? We've got a bit of time. Let's do a little bit of base exploration before we wrap up this first episode. So, the city map.
Welcome to City 31.
Thank you.
During Advent's occupation, the city was a fortress supporting an active starport. 5 years after Xcom won the war, it's home to aliens, hybrids, and humans alike. There's new industry, self-government, and local agriculture to support the varied populations. Against all odds, this city thrived after the war. There were no retributive attacks.
Okay.
Until tonight.
We don't know that, not yet, but we can find out. 31 PD requested our help sifting through evidence at the Memorial Museum. They lost good officers today. Give them what they need and see what we can learn.
Fair enough. Okay, the map is where we see the status of City 31 and any current targets we can send our squad to respond to. Chimera Squad can respond to 1 target per day, after which the day automatically advances. Targets come in 2 types. Missions are tactical targets. The squad will go into combat on these. Situations are strategic targets. The squad takes care of these without entering combat. The current targets change every day, so watch the city carefully for new priorities. Alright, we've only got 1, and it is a mission critical target, so we'll go there. Situation, Memorial Museum Aftermath. 31 PD needs help pouring through the aftermath of tonight's attack. Mayor Nightingale's death has the city on edge. Let's do what we can. Yep, let's send the APC. We've done what we can to aid 31 PD. Commissioner Malouf passed along her thanks for helping her officers bear the weight of this attack. And time
Your
is
work
marched
with
forward.
31 PD opened a few doors. Here's what we know. A crude plasma bomb killed the mayor. The insurgents had no access to materials for that.
Does that mean they had outside help?
Most likely. There are 3 groups in City 31 with access to this kind of ordnance.
Okay, now we choose a faction to investigate. I believe that we will investigate all of them. Either that, or it'll end up being a case that each playthrough you can choose someone else and they become like the antagonists for that playthrough. But I believe we eventually have to investigate all 3. Choose a faction to investigate target. The target faction cannot be changed until it is resolved. But one other thing I did want to touch on, and this kind of comes back to the whole kind of streamlining of the game loop. Whereas in a traditional XCOM, you would advance time at various time controls, but you'd have to wait for time to kind of tick through while you were either waiting for research to happen or for a target of opportunity to show up, that sort of thing. With this, the day just advances and you're straight into the next choice. It just really has tightened the game loop, and it has made it is worked on the pacing just to keep things happening, which is quite interesting. And again, we'll see how that plays out. The Progeny, a loose network of human scions. Their vision for City 31's future is entirely psionic, whether the city wants it or not. Grey Phoenix, an organization of alien scavengers. They have quietly amassed the kind of weaponry Reclamation is mandated to recover. That's effectively what I can tell that XCOM is. Either that or this branch of XCOM that we're serving under. And Reclamation, I kind of think of them as SCP. We're there to get the dangerous alien artifact out of the hands of people who might do dangerous things with them. An underground... what's this? I can scarcely read it. Sacred Call, sorry. An underground religious movement for hybrids. They preach salvation, but only to those who once fought XCOM. Well, the insurgents seemed to be of a mind that they weren't necessarily fighting against XCOM, they just felt that XCOM had lost their way. So they were going to take up the reins, possibly incite some more violence between hybrids and humans. So I would say that these two are probably the more likely candidates. Let's go ahead. And these alien scavengers, and this is an underground movement of... So hybrids, aliens, and humans. Let's go with Progeny. Let's see how this one pans out.
The Progeny have a small but loyal human membership, all with psionic capability. Victims willingly hand over what the Progeny need, and then forget the whole thing. The perfect crime.
Director, these are local criminals. Isn't that 31PD's jurisdiction?
True. The Reclamation Agency supports local police, but we're also required to recover dangerous material.
From those who would do the world harm, and each of those groups is neck deep in the stuff. So what next?
Focus on a single group. Investigate, dismantle their operations, and take them down.
Meanwhile, we look for any links to the mayor's death. Either way, a dangerous organization is off the streets.
Exactly. The city wants justice for Mayor Nightingale. This is how we help them achieve it.
Very well. Every investigation has 3 stages. Groundwork from this first mission, learn about the faction and their methods. Operations, hidden missions that must be revealed, then completed to knock out the faction's main plans. And takedown, stop their final attack and end their threat to City 31. Okay, the Progeny, in progress, active operation, investigate the Progeny. We need to know more about the Progeny before we can proceed with our investigation. Faction overview, we've already seen that. Investigation log, investigation open. No dark events. It's interesting that dark events have made a reappearance. Faction leadership, Progeny leadership is entirely psionic. Consultation with the Templars suggests a human with powerful psionic abilities. Very well. And with that, we now need to go and check out the assembly.
Check it out. Headquarters sent us an assembly. And with the right patterns, we can build anything. Or we could with the latest version. What you're looking at is the extremely finicky 2038 model. It'll take time to stress test our patterns, but once we have them, we're good to go.
All right. Assembly projects are how you get access to new or better items and equipment. Each project can unlock new items for XCOM supply, new weapons or armor upgrades, or a variety of other useful things. Agents assigned here decrease the time it takes to complete the project. you can advance one assembly project at a time, which takes multiple days to complete, and usually costs a resource such as Illyrium. We've got Illyrium, we've got credits, and we've got Intel. Those are our three main currencies. You can, However, they will then be unavailable for the mission or situations if we assign someone to help advance things along. Illyrium is one of the three resources Reclamation requires, so it is spent to complete projects in the assembly. Construct the Android OPS Hub. This network allows us to use androids on tactical missions and enables new assembly projects. It'll give us one Android tactical unit, purchasable in supply, and unlocks all entry-level assembly projects. Okay, well, we will start work on an Android project then. There we go. Project is already in progress. Now, androids effectively can back us up. As I mentioned before, if someone went down early in a mission, and you had more encounters yet to go, but they had been stabilized, so they weren't going to be available. If you have android units, they will step up to fill in the slot. Now, androids, unlike the main characters, they can die. And if they die, that's it. You've just lost the android. They're expensive, but you can replace them. They're the only characters which have any kind of permanent death that doesn't instantly result in you having to replay the mission. But with that, I think we're at a nice wrapping up point for this episode. I really, really do hope you have enjoyed. I am super excited to see how this game expands and to play more of it and just see how the pacing changes specifically affect the overall feel of the game. We've got 2 days on our assembly project. We've got something new to do on the city map. We've also got a new recruit, and we'll be checking all of that out in the next episode. But that is going to be it from me. So, as ever, do leave a like if you liked and sub if you haven't already, and I look forward to your feedback in the comment section down below. But until next episode, do take care, everyone.